incredible how they turned it around so late on.
Well, it was. I mean, I've got to say they deserved to win the game over the 90-plus minutes. There's no doubt about it. They created the better chances. They always looked dangerous. Lloris made some great saves, actually, to keep Spurs in it. For Tottenham's point of view, they've just got to go up a few levels from when they're in the control of the ball is one thing. That means nothing nowadays. You've got to, in that last third, you've got to take some... They didn't create a real full chance today. So there's a lot of work still to be done at Tottenham. And I couldn't understand why they didn't get behind the ball in the last 7-8 minutes. They look tired, they're still pressing, they look so open. I thought that's the time when then Conte, of all coaches, you'd have thought, get behind the ball, make us... We haven't played well again. We'd have been sitting here saying, well, they haven't played well, but they got a point. And in the end, they look stretched when they should have really been in real contact with each other and compact. And they've paid the price.
Jermaine, it must be the worst feeling as a player, and I said this to you as we were watching the full-time scenes, to lose a game late on like that when you're just so close to getting a point.
The thing is, you know it's coming as a player. You're hoping you get away with it because you know as a team when you perform badly, but there's ways of managing the situation. I think that's what Glen's, alluding to there in terms of they've not really pressed with any real intent throughout the whole game. They've kind of half-hearted the press most of the game, and then all of a sudden they're trying to press to nick the goal, and they've been caught out, and it's very almost against what you expect from Antonio Conte. But they, they're going to be really disappointed, but they've got to have a look at themselves. Weirdly enough, the points are on the board in the league, in the Premier League, that is, but their performances have been very much like that, very lethargic, very just almost look tired in games. Whether it's, a training situation that he's still pushing them too hard, I don't know, or whether there's players out of form. Either way, they've got to pick it up, and they've got to pick it up quick, because that was miles off, I think, what Antonio Conte and a lot of Spurs fans are expecting this season. And I'm sure the fans are also worrying what happens when they come up against tougher opposition, because it won't be so late for the opposition to score more goals if they don't create something earlier on.
Yeah, I think both games were there for them. I think the Marseille game, you felt like the crowd was so up for it, and you think just go first 20 to half an hour, just go and show what you're about. And it was the same again tonight. It just didn't feel like... It's all right being in a shape, but then from that shape you have to then get out and you have to press people, you have to get in people's faces and make it difficult for them. And I felt they were just... Once they got back to shape, they just allowed Sporting to play, and I think that's where it came from. And obviously it's a sucker blow losing the 2 goals in so late. But I think it sort of warranted it, the game, really. And
it could have been more, couldn't it, Glenn, if it wasn't for Hugo Lloris making a couple of decent saves.
He's had a very good game, and without that, we'd have been on the end of a real thumping. But it's a good opportunity here that Perisic, a bit unlucky, comes inside there. This is a wonderful save, because I think it's Dyer that's in front of Lloris as well. Just gets one step in, and he goes with the top hand, and you think the danger's over. Let's see it out, and then suddenly it's a wonderful ball in the corner. And there's a little bit of movement in there. If you don't get there first, you're on offer in that 6-yard box. With that speed the ball's coming in, just got to get that first touch and you're in business.
There's a lot of times you can pick the bones out of a set piece and criticise somebody for positionally not being in the right place, not being alert. There's not much I can see wrong with that, apart from probably someone might say, we'll put someone on the back post. People don't not many teams put players on the back post anymore, for a reason. You try and catch teams offside and so on and so forth in the second phase. But that ball is whipped in with such kind of like pace, and it's flat, and it's a perfect kind of like moment coming together that's very difficult to defend. But it cost them. It's
a clever run as well. He's come from the blind side. I think you can't see him on your right-hand shoulder. He comes across him. It's just too late because the ball was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to see it actually again now. Let's have a look at that one more time, because it was a goal that actually came out of nowhere, but you could almost feel it building as well.
Yeah, we could. It actually came from that great save from Lloris, but like you say, there's so many men at that near post, and the quality of that ball, once he gets the first touch, it's game over.
Spurs have scored important goals, haven't they, this season from that near post position against Wolves and against Chelsea. They've been good offensively. Well, obviously, so late in the game, you can't come back. It was difficult for them to come back from that position, but it's so important, set plays.
Yeah, and it's, again, another example that we've seen tonight is that when they do create chances, they need to make more of them, don't they, Jermaine?
I honestly can't think of a clear-cut chance that they created tonight. That's the bigger concern for me. We're talking about a front 3, front 4 before the game that's so exciting. Who's going to play out Richarlison and Son, because I've got so many options to score so many goals. I don't think any of them played well. at all. You know, Harry Kane's in that pot as well. Any chance that he created, there was miles offside. There was no real kind of like link-up and synergy in the way that they play.
There was one. We all said it. We all spoke at the same time. There's only once today in this game where it went zip, 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 4 or 5 passes, and you thought, "Oh, that's good play."
Yeah.
They've got so much ability there. They've got to play quicker for me. I think they just play a little bit, hold on to the ball a little bit to 1, 2, 3 touch, 1, 2, 3 touch, till you get to the last third, then you've got licence to thrill. But you know, they were sort of very laborious in their passing.
The 2 biggest chances came for Emerson Royale in the game, and he was, you know, one of the poorer players on the pitch from a defensive point of view, as we're probably going to see in the second goal. But you know, you want to get your goal scorers in these situations, and they were nowhere to be seen, and that it's got to be a concern. It's all right going, "Oh, we're not playing well, and we'll try and keep clean sheets," but you know,
I mean, we spoke about Son before the game. Is it time to bring him out?
Well, is now the time, do you think?
He's had another torrid game.
Yeah.
You know, I love him to bits. He's a fabulous player, but he's struggling. As that ball's coming to him, we've all been there. As it's coming to him, he's worried about his first. Whereas when you're in sync, when you're confident, you're not even worrying about that. You're thinking, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
And Kubalevski, when he comes on, he looks the real deal, doesn't he? He looks like he raises everyone's tempo. So, you know, so look at.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the second goal. Let's have a look at it, Crouchy, because this happened, in the 93rd minute. And I don't think anyone quite saw this coming, Crouchy.
Well, it was a nice first few touches for him. I have to say, obviously, from a defensive point of view, from Tottenham, very, very poor. But if we look at it first and foremost from a sporting point of view, after Gomez, it was a fabulous run, fantastic, but awful defending. You have to say, I'm not sure where Emerson was.
Yeah.
Emerson's got to get tight quicker there, Crouchy, isn't he?
So many factors to it. You know, he's got to show him the line. I think, you know, people can get over it. We've got a 2v1 situation. He just breezes past both of them.
It's just loose. It's just really loose defending. It's not something that you associate with Antonio Conte's defenders in any way, shape or form. And as Crouchy said, it was coming. It was coming. It was deserved. And they had a couple of those moments, Sporting, where they went on little mazy runs and a little flimsy leg came out. You know, nothing assertive, nothing kind of that was sharp in their defending or their attacking, anything in the midfield that they can put anything together. You don't want to take these situations too far because it's very early on in the season, but it's quite disappointing when you're looking at them going, you're miles better than this. And why are you all looking so tired, almost, in the way that you're playing game after game?
And another player that actually had one of those moments you just mentioned, Glen, was Marcus Edwards, because he came close, didn't he, in the first half?
In the
with
first
a brilliant
half.
bit of skill.
This was a bit of beauty on the football pitch, you know. He turns, it's tight, look, 3 men round him, left to right foot, lovely little turn of place, another diving in again, poor defending there from Davis, I think it was. There, you're just thinking, my word, what a goal this is going to be. And Lloris manages somehow to get a hand to it, and somehow it goes round the post, but what a run.
Unbelievable run on it, really. And like, I think it's just sort of like his hand, it's like it's behind him, and it goes the other way, so it's a bit of luck as well from the wrist.
But you know, if you watch what kind of like Marcus Edwards did today, a lot of the time, all of his movements were dropping into a little pocket where Eric Dyer was like, do I want to come out or not? He was never going to run in behind. So I don't know why, as a team, they're not just like, get right up the pitch. These two are never going to run in behind us because we're too quick. Win the ball higher. It always just seems... Today, it just seemed a bit like in between all of the right decisions they should be making. They're like a yard off coming out for Edwards. They're a yard off in midfield. They're a yard off up front. You know, everything's just not in sync at the minute.
Are you surprised? I thought this game, they would be typical, get Harry back, get behind the ball and hit this team on the break. That's how I anticipated watching this game. They've gone from the first minute pressing high. And in the end, as the fatigue was getting in, they were getting stretched. More stretched, and it played into Sporting's hand. For me, I thought this was going to be a typical game. We go away from Europe, quell the crowd, make it tight, then Son and they had players that you can hit and counter. It was the other way round today. I think against Marseille, they did that, and we were saying, why didn't they press at home? And it was like opposites to what I expected, for sure, and it hasn't come off from tonight.
Glen, how concerned are you for Spurs now, given the 2 performances alone we've seen in the Champions League?
Well, this is the Champions League is a tough tournament. It's a tough trophy to go all the way. They're still capable of qualifying from this group, but a point would have been enough for them. not playing so well again. I was surprised, but from his interview there, Antonio's saying that their emphasis was to go forward, was to press higher, was to actually try and win the game right up until the end. And I thought that it's against how he thinks normally. I was expecting him to get behind the ball, see the game out and get a point. So let's take 4 points out of the first 2 games and we'll qualify like that. And I was really surprised to hear him say we were still going for that win. It's ended up, we've lost the game. So that is surprising for me. But this team will get better.